Okay, America. So this is just my opinion, my ideas, whatever. No hate or anything involved in this, but this is my thought. Reparations. Should African Americans get reparations? I believe so. So I was looking at my ancestry and I found my ancestry. Why this is important? Why is this impactful? Well, I want to show you John Tomlinson. John Tomlinson from Liverpool, Leicester, England, had boats, and he had boats, and these boats were capable of moving people back and forth from the Americas to England and to the Caribbean. About 20,000 people. I'm a descendant of this person, and apparently he liked one of my ancestors, and that came down my line. So this man is totally responsible. His wealth and everything he has created, which is worth billions today in his estate, is worth billions of dollars from the United States to England, enslaved 20,000 people. Now his billions have affected 20,000 people. This is how slavery affects people today. So he's made billions off of the lives of humans, but the humans have not gained anything from that. So I feel like reparations is really important because of the sins of the father. This is my seventh great grandparent. Don't know him or anything like that, but his side of the family has wealth because of that. So what I want to show you is America. In 1671, these were the Native Americans that were here. If you guys don't know, read this book, John Elkleby. Everybody says, you know, all the blacks go back to Africa. We're here. We've been here. If you don't know, read this book and you'll see the people who were here in 1671 before America began. So all these people had land and they were pushed out, enslaved, whatever. So a lot of us can track our people back to the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, all these areas in the South during this time. And I feel like a great way is if we use our ancestry, and you can track all of us in our ancestry from a certain time period on the census. So you can say this person here in the 1900s was labeled as a Negro in this community or county during this time. They are eligible for reparations. So you don't have people coming in and scamming. And so because that person's here during that time of slavery and injustice and blah, 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 which is still continuing today, they can apply like the Indians. The Native Americans have the 5 Indian registries. So you can apply for censorship or registration. I feel like in America, there should be an African American registry to apply for like a reservation for us in each state. And each state, there would be land, jobs, our own policing, our own organizational structure, no taxing on it, incentives with loans and home buying and home building. Just a ton of incentives that would benefit our community. And I feel like each territory from these original communities could have that, and we can easily trace that. And I feel like, you know, the people that would be responsible for paying it out would necessarily be the US citizens of America today. It can come from organizations that have benefit from the backs and lives of others who have been enslaved, like Tomlinson. So he has been made millions of dollars off the lives of others, multi-billions of dollars off the lives of others in his estate, banking, and he's also contributed to things like funding the government, funding businesses, loans, wars, and everything else. So a lot of the money is already there. It's in the American government. If you research a lot of these organizations and who they gave to and who they funded, you're going to see the trail of where their benefit of wealth from the enslavement of human beings actually went to. And I feel like this is very important to pinpoint where that did happen and who benefited the most from slavery, because of the sins of the fathers, they should repay and amend. And I honestly feel like the burden should definitely happen because they have estates that have that wealth, and that wealth is multiplying today because they're smart with how they play their money. So it's not crazy. Like, this could happen. And I feel just like, you know, the Native American tribes, I mean, you're going to also find a lot of the black people, if they research this ancestry thing around the 1900s, you'll find the Indian US Census. And on the Indian US Census, you'll be able to see a lot of us black people were rolled in. They were Native American, born on an Indian territory during a certain period, and then rolled into the black community, labeled as Negro and mulatto. So a lot of us are already kind of like Indians where we don't have a tribe. So creating this new subclad of tribe and treating the African Americans like Native Americans with the same type of program could be realistic, and we could implement that fast. That would include, you know, the same things that the Native Americans have today. And I feel like that is an exceptional and reasonable thing to roll out if someone would hear this and pick it up and be like, wow, I got an idea. It could be your idea. Just take it, roll with it. I don't care. Get the ball rolling. Um, I feel like this will will be a step towards peace, for us. And it doesn't have to be so divided and defensive. It's just something that needs to be done. Restitution needs to be done, like in America. Um, you know, and I'm a strong believer in that. I don't hate anybody. I don't wish any wrong will to anybody, but I like truth and facts. And when you start researching your ancestry, you can see that. You can see the gap. You can see it. It's real. It's not fake. It's not a facade. And these just my points, my opinions. And I'm adopted, and I found my family, and I'm researching my family, and I'm finding my family trees, and I love this history. And I feel like it's really important for every one of us Americans to research our history to get the true scope of what America really was. And when you find that, you see the lives of the people and how they lived, and then you see how they lived and where they came from and where they went. And I feel like it's a huge thing to know. Like, a lot of my ancestors in my tree, great-great-grandparents, fought in a lot of wars, and they didn't receive the benefits of those wars that they should have received because they're a certain color. A lot of Native Americans fought for the land that they have that they don't have today. And I feel like there should be some kind of restitution for the sins that's been happening, because spiritually wise, there's blood all over this land. There's blood and wars fought. This land was built on blood, war, sacrifice, and human trafficking and sweat. This, the ground is screaming for restitution. Like, I don't know if you can't listen or hear, but the ground is screaming to God, the spirit, whatever you call that higher power. They're screaming for restitution, and I believe it needs to happen. And that's just my point of view. It's just my opinion, and based off me researching my ancestry and everything else, it's screaming even louder of the wrong that has happened. And I feel like we could get there. If we come together and create good ideas to do that, it could happen. But we need someone established that wants to build those bridges and actually wants to sit down and do it. Like, African Americans should be a part of one of the organized Indian nations. And they should have reservations like the Indian nation stood, and they should have land accounted to them that no one can go in and mine and do anything to. And farming and housing and development, community development and everything. I feel like there's a lot of values that we could get back to that they had, a lot of things and organizational structure that we can incorporate from the Native Americans, because eventually a lot of us are going to find out we have a ton of Native American anyway. Just those tribes are gone. They were enslaved. They were gone. They're not gone. The names of those tribes are gone. They're still here today, but those identities were lost in slavery. And we'll find a lot of people who had sharecropping. There could be a incentive too. Hey, in the 1900s, your father was a sharecropper and they worked the land. That could be a incentive too. Like, you're in the African American Registry. So we could easily pinpoint who could be allocated to these reservations with submitting documents. We can easily create the money for it by, taxing the organizations that funded off our labor and having them repay us back. And then creating tax-free incentives in the community and creating farms and housing and development and our own policing structure that's within our own community. It could be a whole different world, especially for Black people. And I feel like that needs to happen. And no peace is going to happen until that happens. I don't know about you, but this is not going to go away until the sins of the father have been addressed. It's not going anywhere. Every year this is going to come up. And the division and dividing is going to get worse and worse. So we can look and come together and work for peace and come to the solution, or we can continue whatever we're doing. I'm for reparations and restoration of the Black community as a whole. And I feel it's overdone. It needs to be done. I don't know how it's going to get done. I'm just throwing out ideas. I don't know who's talking about it, who's going to do it, but here's some ideas. I'm not fit to do it, but these are just my ideas and thoughts. And my ancestors can't speak, so I'm going to speak for them today through me. So have a blessed one. Take care.